The last 2.5 months, I went from 70 to 3,500 followers on TikTok, 100 community members in our very first month, and all of it from under 30 minutes a day. And the system behind all of it runs inside of Claude Co-Work, so there's no terminal, no code, just Co-Work. In this video, I'm showing you the content engine live. One article goes in, and a full Instagram carousel comes out. The full chain's automated, and it runs on Sonnet on the $20 a month plan. And this is actually one piece of the AI operating system that we just released inside the Zero to Automated School community. So by the end of this video, you'll have a clear picture of exactly how to set this up for yourself. You don't need the terminal, you don't need Opus, and you don't need to write a single line of code. So let's get into the video. So I have the Instagram carousel skill. Something that I've recently created is I find a lot of really useful articles on X. Essentially, they introduce a new feature, some sort of like workflow people are finding useful. So I've created, and I use an Obsidian vault now, but I have like a vault within there that I just like add the link to the article and it goes and pulls the article and just stores it for me so I can use that later for content. But I added one this morning that was centered around like Obsidian and Claude Code, or just like using Obsidian with Claude and what that unlocks. So I just asked to create an Instagram carousel skill about it. And so this is, I guess, using that skill. So I'm just going to quickly, something I like about this skill is it like runs everything by me first to make sure it says what I want. So the cover headline, Obsidian plus Claude Code equals your Jarvis. I like that. Yeah, I'm not going to put too much thought into this.
Yeah, let's see the baby in action. But the cool thing about this as well is it's becoming, because you can talk to it on your phone now. You can talk to it through Telegram, similar to like you would OpenClaw. And so if your computer is on, then you can just interact with it, and then you can schedule things.
Yeah.
All of that now is just inclusive in Co-Work.
It's crazy. With something like this, how I'm thinking about scheduling it, I mean, I'm going to probably just text Claude Code articles I find throughout the day. And then every 24 hours, it takes the articles I've added and then uses this skill to create carousels for me that are ready to post the next day. And I mean, this, we could go a step further in this even too for the system and make it where like sets up to an auto scheduler and then auto posts that for the person if you really wanted to, right?
Yeah. So my OpenClaw, what I do is on Telegram, like, if I see something on X, like an article that I really like, then I'll share it to my Telegram. OpenClaw picks it up, and then it has a mechanism of recognizing based off of an MD file what it should do with it. And so if it's an X article, it knows that I want it to read the article, grab the transcript if it's a video, and then it'll create, it has an SOP for how it should look at it. And then it'll give me like a build list if it's worth building or not building. And then it'll say, this may or may not be good for your system, or, this is actually just total AI slop. Don't use this. And so it has those broken down. And so like what you're saying is you can just bring that into Co-Work. You can schedule that to happen once a day at like 4 a.m. And then when you log on at 6 a.m., you have 5 new things to look at or not look at, depending on what your structure is.
Exactly. What's going on, David?
Hey, David.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
There we go. We can hear you.
Coming through.
Sorry, just a slow start to my day here.
Hey, no worries. Glad you were able to make it.
David, you're in construction, correct?
Yeah, I own. Well, I say I really should say we. I own a construction company and a property management company, but it's me and my wife.
Nice.
It is equal parts, both of us. I'm just the pretty face and the muscle. She's the brain.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just was reading through your intro. Tennessee, huh? My brother lived in Gatlinburg for most of his life.
Yeah. Yeah. So property management. I won't.
Oh, I got to allow video. That's why. Sorry, David. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, I was jumping in the middle, so I didn't know. And my truck started up. I got to go post some flyers on some properties. But I just wanted to jump on and listen. And
fantastic. Well, it's good to have you. Is there anything you started or are struggling with this week? I know you said you wanted to work on maintenance, workflows, tenant triage, vending routing, scheduling. Have you started that?
Yeah, I mean, So I've built what I call Dane IQ. Couldn't come up with a name. I got 3 Great Danes, so that's what it is.
Okay.
I have, AI right now reminds me of 2007, 2006, 8 with SEO back when if you just got in, you could rank anything and make money. It's that early. I did that for a while. COVID made me close that business because I niched down to bankruptcy and divorce attorneys and did the whole cold email outreach, showed them their map listings, sold all that stuff. And then when COVID hit, their ranking stayed, but we had to put their campaign on pause because none of them could get face-to-face meetings, so they all panicked. But when they opened back up, they're like, oh my gosh, David, you're the best, but we're still number 2. We're still number 1. If it ever drops, we'll call you. Well, it's 2026, and I ain't got a phone call yet. But that was SEO. You did all the work once, and then you collect your residual paycheck because people didn't know.
Right.
And so we got into real estate around 2018 because we realized technically Google could switch to paid ads overnight, and we would lose everything. And we realized although we had a job, we really didn't own anything. And so we started acquiring rental properties, and basically I got my GC, started a property management company with my wife, and then I became a glorified maintenance director and realized that I'm ADD and it sucked. And there's just a ton of moving parts. It's a totally fragmented industry. All the software, the service providers out there really suck at maintenance anyways. And about September, I was like, AI can do this. It's not there yet. It'll get there. I can figure it out. And so I started just kind of plugging away, talking to ChatGPT, talking to Claude, built using Replit and Lovable, a maintenance system. Then in January, when OpenClaw and Claude Code started just going gangbusters, I took what I had piecemealed together and I've now rebuilt it using Claude Code. And I'm kind of trying to, basically there's a few little things that I have left to do. We've done smoke test things. I'm about to actually go back to doing it live without using Playwright so that I can replace the software that I'm actually spending a couple $1,000s a month on.
What software is that?
Property Meld.
Okay, got it. That's like the reputable one in the industry, right?
For maintenance, yes.
Yeah.
They all, for the property management systems, they all have a maintenance piece. But none of them have AI that actually works. If they do have AI, it's chatbots, it's legacy software, it's slow moving. And so that's where I realized through listening to I'm a big TikTok user, different people than finding school. There's not very many people with industry expertise that are also using AI. So there's a lot of people that understand how AI workflows could be built, multi-agent, stacks, going through workflows, but there's not a lot of people that are, in the trenches of an industry saying, okay, let me take this and apply it to the actual workflow because I understand how it should work. Just like all software, SaaS companies, they have the way they want it to work, and then they have the way the end user actually uses it. Very rarely is it actually done the way the company originally would want you to, because they're developers, they're not property owners, they're not actually out there managing properties. I love developers, I have a ton of friends in that world, but they're ones and zeros people. They don't.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That's the opportunity right now, right? You have the specificity and the knowledge of that field, and you know the actual problems that are at play, and so you can solve them way faster now with AI.
Yep, and so that's what brought me to this space, and then I started just kind of hunting people down on TikTok, trying to figure out who has school communities, Discord, this stuff, who's blowing smoke, who's actually giving value, who's kind of going through there, and then it's just I've been kind of slowly trying to figure that out so I can learn the last little. for me, the big hang up isn't necessarily Claude Code, because Claude Code, as long as you, with enough time, it'll figure out the parts. The parts that hang me up were actually setting up, Twilio integrations with getting the right services and going through and registering everything. The parts that it can't do, that you have to manually do, and then going, Claude, how do you do this? Okay, I did this. Here's my screenshot. That doesn't look like that anymore. And it's like, oh, they moved that. Go here. So you're like, taking 4 hours to do something that, you guys or other developers and other people in that space are like, yeah, it's a 10-minute job.
Yeah.
So,
the cool thing, some of that's changing so fast as well, where Twilio, for instance, or retail, they're adding APIs now that are going to really help speed up that process even faster.
Yep. And so like, that was one of the cool things that I've realized now is like, I've taken Dane IQ and already turned it basically into an NPC so that it will be able to communicate, it's basically just an API, but
nice.
Be able to communicate. I've already set up bring your own keys. So if people wanted to actually just use our platform and put in their own Claude Code OAuth, so they don't have to pay for API access, which would drastically reduce cost, while still using the different tier model hierarchy so that it doesn't burn up their tokens utilization. When, like, I manage 450 properties, but if someone were to manage 2,000 properties, they're going to blow through that 200 if it's not optimized properly.
Right.
So all those little things, like learning that and kind of trying to stay ahead, while at the same time, not having a single customer other than myself.
That's great. You really have gotten far, it sounds like, David. Good for you, man.
Yeah. How are you thinking about, or have you thought much about customer acquisition yet? Or are you trying to get the product to a place where it's really sound and ready to ship?
Yes and no. So like, I've thought about a ton of different ways to do it. That's, not a world I've lived in since 2016, so 10 years ago, but that was like, we did cold email, and I'd scrape attorney list and Google Maps and do that kind of stuff. So like, I know there's different ways to do that. Bigger Pockets, Reddit have APIs, so you could set something up to just go through and wait for people to ask questions and then kind of come in that way. But no, I haven't set up any of those kind of things. And then on the product, I probably have overdeveloped it, because I've been making it to work for me and my wife. And so I was like, if it doesn't totally replace my job that I hate, I don't want to use it. But as far as like, do I have, if I was in the development software space, yeah, I've way overdone what my MVP should be to be shipping and trying to get customers already.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's important to fix your own problem first. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I just got back from a 10-day trip to Mexico where I used Telegram as a kind of like a Telegram loop into Claude Code with the 71-hour restart so that it would continuously loop through to solve the OpenClaw setup. And was able to use Playwright and still manage my doors and maintenance and have it tell me which technician it thinks it should send, or which vendor based on their schedule. So I've tested it in that way. I just need to get it where we're, that's not optimal for actual being a real product that people can use.
Right. Well, that's still fun though, right? That's amazing you can do that now.
It's a blast.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, feel free to drop in and interrupt us anytime, okay? We were going to finish. Zach is building out a Claude skill, and he's showing how it's working right now.
Is that the 7-day kind of onboarding kind of like thing y'all were talking about?
It's going to be so short answer, yes, it's going to be a part of it. This is actually going to be part of the second week that Zach and I are dialing in right now, is more so the content marketing side of things. So you can have an automated marketing engine. But we were briefly talking about the first 7 days, which we are going to be releasing soon. But have you read, let me ask you a question. Have you read that post yet? Or
Yeah,
like, did you have any initial thoughts? Because yeah, we'd love to hear your kind of feedback on what you're
yeah,
thinking
I
about that.
have. I'm actually really active in another school community, and we had a phone call last night. Sorry, my voice. I don't normally sound like this. This is the Mexican
You're good.
drinking all week voice and staying at a resort. I think it's a huge problem, and I think what y'all talked about on the initial 7 days is great, because what we've realized is there's a core group of us in that group that are building things, and then there's new users who are like, "What's Claude Code, and Claude Co-Work?" And even I've been such into Claude Code that I don't even really understand Claude Co-Work. It's not necessarily. Every time I ask Claude, should I be in it to use it, they're like, "You're too far down the rabbit hole. Don't stop now. You're close to being finished. That's a distraction."
Yeah.
But what they come in is they're like, "I don't know what this is." So I love the idea of what you're talking about. Like, day one, you're going to just spend 15 minutes and I have preloaded questions, so to speak. Just answer these, do this. And by the end of the week, you would actually have the baseline to say, okay, based on everything you've given me, this is what you need to do. Kind of, this is where you need to go. This is the things that you get that direction, but instead of being vague, it would be specific directions based on what they've told you. And setting up a system like that where someone could come in with no knowledge necessarily of the AI space, especially Claude Code, Claude Co-Work, which I'm biased. I think that's where everybody should be, is a huge tool. Like, that's what drew me in, because I haven't really interacted with your community very much. I think I joined right before I left for Mexico. I was kind of just peeking in, and then I got a notification maybe this morning, and something drew my attention. I saw that, and I was like, "Oh crap! I better start on posts and getting my 5 likes so that I can get to see this content's going to be." And
Yeah.
that's what drew me in. So I was like, "That's a real problem that needs to be solved."
Yeah, and we're hoping to. I like what you said there too about the 2 different people in the community, and that's one of the things where you could probably do this, 7-day sprint in 2 days, easy, if not less, because you have that experience. Where we're also building it for, like you said, someone who doesn't even know how to use Claude yet, so they can be onboarded in that 7-day period. So I'm
And
But I
excited.
you
also
also
like it, and I was sorry I cut you off. I like it, and I think of people like me, the small business owner who has tried AI, like my wife. She's like, it's just a lying version of Google. I ask it a question and it gives me answers that I know are not true. And I was like, that's not what AI is. But that's what that was their snap judgment of it 4 months ago. And in the small business world, 4 months is like a week to AI. Even maybe 2 hours. But they come in and they don't know that structure. And with what y'all have laid out there, a small business owner can easily go, here's what I do, here's my daily workflow, here's my SOPs, here's my kind of blah, blah, blah. And it goes, this is how you should be using Claude Code to buy back your time.
Right.
And I was
100%.
like, holy shit, kind of like, that's a real
yeah.
product, that's real value.
So I'm just to make sure I have that like kind of wording for you. This is great information for us. You would say that outcome of the 7 days should be that they come out with a system, with an exact system they have to buy back their time with AI, and no longer use it like Google? Or how would you frame that?
So I'm going to use myself as an example here. I'm the maintenance director at a property management company, and I know that I am sick and tired of talking to technicians. Like, creating your schedule. Here's everything, because all that data is in their property management system. Every HVAC company has a a service, the CRO, I think is what they're called, electrician. Every mom and pop business has systems. They're in their head. They use spreadsheets. They do something. They've been doing it, and they don't know how to get that information out of their head into Claude Code, into Co-Work, into these kind of systems. By doing kind of what you were laying out, hey, what do you do? How do you do it? How many, those kind of questions, it comes up and says, okay, based on what you've told us, software you use, what you're doing, that's, Claude Co-Work, can go into the files and that you already have, or, if it's a little more robust, like for me as a maintenance director, I've got 8 in-house technicians and about 20 outside vendors, and I've got 400 doors in Chattanooga and 50 in Nashville. And I was like, okay, I can get all of this information into Claude Code. We can use the Google CLI and Google Workspace, and all of a sudden now we can almost get rid of all the software we're using and have it fully automated.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that was the big moment for me where I was like, 6 months ago, I was like, I can figure this out. If I showed up today using the kind of your 7-day, 14-day sprint concept, I would then be able to know kind of like, here's how these tools and what I'm currently using and what I would kind of, in theory, need to do to be able to use this to cut out all of that manual work that I'm just doing every day. Where then it's like, hey, when a real problem happens, hey, David, we don't know who to assign this to because your 2 in-house tech guys can't get there for 5 days, and your outside vendor said they're covered up for the next week. This needs to be addressed in the next 72 hours. How do you want to proceed? That's high-level work that I need to be looped in on. But if one of my maintenance techs can handle it, I don't need to know. I need you to assign it. And that's how I'm using it. But that really could apply across any business.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Okay.
Most business owners don't understand that.
Okay. That's really, really helpful. Thank you, David. Zach, do you have any like follow-up questions to that?
No, that's great. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying, David. Thank you for sharing that. That's really helpful to us. And we're actually testing it tonight, the first 7 days. It's actually going to be a 30-day program, but the first 7 days we're testing tonight, our final test, if you will. So we should have some updates at the end of the week.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Sweet, man.
All right, Zach, let's see that skill.
Let's see it. So it just gave us that output here. I'm going to share my screen. So yeah, it took that article and then went ahead and just created this carousel for me on autopilot. And I mean, it turned out exactly on brand, exactly how I wanted it. The one thing that I did notice, and this is because I haven't tested this system in Co-Work before, is just that the emoji, this is typically an emoji. If we look real quick at another output of this, that's typically an emoji. Yeah. So that's just something I'm going to need to dial in. Yeah, it's typically that emoji. Can you see that?
Right.
Just the finger pointing down. That's the only small fix. I did make a small fix as well. Just the bold font, it's Montserrat. For whatever reason, Claude Co-Work doesn't have like live access to that, so it had to like pull it in real quick. But the system that, like, I set it up, it auto checks before it actually gives me the output. And so it did tell me that once it gave me the initial output of like, hey, just so you know, the bold like title text we use in every single slide is slightly off. I need your permission to go and like grab that font. Do you want me to go do that? And then it did.
Excellent.
But yeah, no. So pretty, yeah, go ahead.
And then you have to run it through the M-Destroyer.
Yeah, all the copy. So that's you think you even do it for graphics as well?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
100%. Because
you're yeah.
You know, I've got a problem with this. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But when I see that, I immediately dismiss it because I see M dashes everywhere, and I'm like, this is most likely slop. This is most likely generated by AI, and I don't take you seriously anymore.
I
That's how I
agree
see
with
it.
you. I 100% agree on the M dashes. And the other thing that instantly lets you know it's AI, if it says it's not this, it's that.
Oh yeah, that's another.
That's been another one.
That phrasing instantly lets me know that was written by AI.
Right.
Because no human says that in every phrase. Like there's an appropriate time for it, but it is overkilled with AI.
Definitely. And does that stuff matter at the end of the day? Maybe not. Maybe it's more a volume game, but it's such an easy thing.
It might be all of us. Yeah. It might be all of us because we use it all the time too. But it's nonetheless, M dash is a dead giveaway.
So this is cool though, because you're in Co-Work, we're in the skill, and you can see that all you have to do is prompt it and it'll go in that skill directory for you and fix those files immediately in that session.
Yeah. And then I'm systemizing this too. So I'm making sure that every single time it uses that skill, it never should give me text anymore that has M dashes in it. Because it's going to reference the M dash destroyer skill that's already in my Claude skill library. Right?
Yes. And
shout out Zach. And that thing works. That thing works. No M dash makes it through.
That's what we're hoping to really build out for the community over time as well. Is I'm sure there's going to be so many different products out there to help people onboard themselves, but our product is specifically helping you onboard to Claude, which Anthropic is shipping on every week. Just this last week, they had 3 major updates to it, and they are pushing it as much as possible. So you have the best developers pushing through a beautiful UI. We're building inside of that. And then because of that, in our weekly skills and automations that we just released to the community for free, you can bring those on board as necessary based off of your use cases. And then after your first 2 days, essentially, of the program, Claude Co-Work or Claude Code, however you want to look at it, doesn't matter, is going to have the details of your business. It's going to have created a stylus sheet for your brand. So it knows your colors, it knows your fonts, it knows your images. And then everything you create from then on should be brand identity through and through.
Exactly. And that brand identity is going to feed skills like this. It's going to feed other skills that we add on. And then, like Zach said, we'll just continue releasing playbooks into the community to help you guys that are really easy to integrate with the initial 7-day setup. So real quick to give an update. It made that update to the Instagram carousel skill. So now it'll never give me an output that has M dashes in it. And then I'm just having it update the carousels it just made. So it's re-rendering those. And walking through setting this up, like I said, this exact Instagram carousel skill has not been released in the community yet. It will be soon. And I'm not sure if it'll be released before or after. It'll probably be released as a part of the system when that is finally released. But there is, so as you can see in the outputs I've showed, the backgrounds for the title slide, the cover slide, and then the informative slides are all the exact same every single time. If you want to ever spice things up, obviously that's definitely not the best for content strategy. You want to create some different graphics. All you have to do is create variants, or if there's maybe 5 or 6 images that you want to be on the title slide, and it just randomly selects which one every single time. Those are great things that you can add up front. It's just in an assets folder, and then it pulls all those from the assets library whenever it creates those graphics. So you can make this totally robust. That way you're not just pushing out the exact same looking posts every day. But I'm really excited because these types of posts on Instagram, I mentioned I'm up to 30 followers in the first 10 days on there, I think, which is, not a lot at all, but it compounds. But these styles of posts, the lead magnet posts of getting people to comment and just giving people free value, have been instrumental in helping a lot of other AI influencers grow on Instagram. So that's the strategy that we're replicating here with this skill.
And the same strategy got you 17x followers in what time on TikTok?
2.5 months.
2.5 months, right. And so the consistency is there. And the consistency is one of the biggest things most people are missing when they're creating content in the first place, because they don't have the ability to show up every day like they think they do, and then all of a sudden you miss a day or you skip a day or something comes up. And so the ability to start creating these posts and, like you said, have different representations of these posts based off of either something that you liked that you saw, or based off of the daily scheduled run that we have, which gives us updated news on whatever's important to your industry or your business. And then you say, go make this content for my business that week. And so the skill connects to the next skill. And so this chaining of skills is what we're also building into the system. And what's really cool too, I just noticed, is that was with Sonnet 4.6, not Opus. So you're actually saving tons of tokens with some of these automations now, and you're not having to use Opus, the more expensive model. So for people that are on the $20 plan, the Pro plan, that's also really helpful to know, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are paying for the $20 a month Pro plan, and they're like, am I going to be able to do all of this with the Pro plan? And the answer is usually yes. And when I say usually yes, the only thing you run into every once in a while is if you just crank out stuff, then you're going to hit a limit for the day, and then usually you can finish the next day. But as far as creating your content for the day or the week, we have not run into any of those issues yet.
No. And then furthermore, other things in the system and other platforms, all of this can be repurposed. So the core source of this was an article I came across that I found very informative. I did add some of my thoughts to it, so it was more aligned with my train of thought and thinking when it comes to AI. But then I repurposed this. This is just an Instagram carousel. I also have a short form script skill that can help me write scripts and write the intros for my TikTok videos that I also repurpose as Instagram videos and YouTube shorts. And then if you want to go to LinkedIn, we're going to have a LinkedIn script writer, post writer, content creator, the whole 9 yards for LinkedIn also built into this system. So that way it just becomes this massive repurposing engine centered around one source. That source could be an article. It also could just be that you have Claude Co-Work, Claude Code, whatever you're working out of, interview you for 30 minutes. So it actually has real information about you. It's going to already have all of that after the 7 days. But if there's a specific subject or something really specific within your domain that you want it to have, it's going to have that information for you, or it can go get that information via an interview. So really excited. Yeah, David.
I have an idea that I don't know how to do, but I see what y'all are doing, and I know as like myself, like I'm running about every day. I'm in an industry that every day changes. I wish there was a way to record my voice. Obviously not today because it doesn't want to sound like, right? Or do something like that. I know it probably exists. So there's a way to, and then a way to take images or still videos where you could create I guess it's user generated content. I don't even know if that's what UGC stands for, but where you could almost create videos where you're doing that same format like TikTok live, where you turn your phone around and talk, but you're not actually having to do it. It is that the content you're creating the same way, where it uses that same voice. So when someone wants to talk to you or wants to schedule a call, they already know that voice. It's the same voice they've heard. It's not just regular content, or they're familiar with their face. So when they jump on your Zoom call to get more information or to learn about your product or your services or whatever, they're familiar with the look, the person, the feel. It's the same feel without necessarily having to be you, because Zach, I found you through TikTok. You're doing this, but like most small business owners or most people, that's the part where they're like, that's the scary part to them. That's the part that doesn't have but that's also what gets the most engagement and builds a real brand. And so people understand the value of needing to do this, but it's like, I don't have time to do that. And then they're like, well, I don't want to just post generic content. It works. It will slowly work. There's got to be a way to do that. It might be too early, but I was like, that was an idea I had about a week ago, and I was like, let me just share that with y'all real fast. And might be early, might not exist, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, it does exist.
I love
it is possible, and it's a great idea. And the one reason we haven't built that in early yet is because it is costly. in the sense of if somebody is on a tight budget of like they're using Claude for $20 a month, it's a big stretch to go. I mean, it's not expensive in reality. If you're a business owner and you have expenses, you understand there's an advertising and a marketing expense budget that you need to create. In that sense, it's not. But the models have gotten so good that you can do that now. I'm actually seeing a lot more of those videos on my YouTube ads coming through, and they are really stinking good. The other thing too is, as a business owner or a professional, you may not feel comfortable on camera, or you may not like your voice. And like you said, you can use the same voice you use on your calls. I'll actually do that right now. Make this phone call to a number I have. So that's my assistant Maya, and so that voice is the same voice that I can programmatically put into any of my content as well, because it is a matched voice that I've chosen, and so I can go and use that, like you said, with my AI avatar and that voice. You can have the cohesive nature of when they call you on the phone, or when you call them on the phone, or in your content, and so that will blend together. It's really well said, David.
Great. Well, Zach, that's really it for that whole system.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm excited. We're really excited to test it tonight and get it to the community as soon as possible. That's our biggest driver right now, because we just need more feedback so we can make it better. So, David, thanks for joining us. Any last questions, comments for us?
No. I mean, just the listening here and what I read earlier. I wish I would have got on for the very beginning. I'm excited because I can see how it could help me. And obviously, this is one of the pieces that was the scariest to me, was just going, I can understand how to run my business. I don't understand how to, if I create something that can run my business, I know it can work for other people. How do I put that out there? And that's the biggest part, where it's like the fear of the unknown. So solving that is like when I said it's a real value, it's a real product. Like that is a real problem between those two. Bringing in someone new, in all different aspects. Like you can have someone who's paying the $20 a month plan. I only pay for the $125, and I've only limited that one time, and I pretty much have Claude Code running 24/7. On Sonnet, when I used Opus, I hit some limits, so I changed it to Sonnet 4.6. But I think it's awesome. Like I really think the direction you're talking and going is a gap in the market, kind of, so to speak.
If this done for you AI business system is interesting to you, make sure you jump into our school community. It's in the description below. It is deployed within 48 hours of joining, and we work with you one-on-one if you have any problems until it's working in that 7 days.